All right, so now I want to introduce our next panel, our Industry Insights, Mapping Your Path to Career Excellence panel. I'm going to bring to the stage and pin Ms. Jada Holloway. Thank you, Jada, for joining. And Jada will be the moderator for today's discussion. So, Jada, why don't you introduce yourself and tell our youth what you're doing currently in your college endeavors?
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this part of the panel. I'm Jada Holloway. I'm currently a rising senior at Norfolk State University. My major is business with a focus in financial services. I'm a full-time student, but I'm also in the process of working full-time and very much independent. I don't stay on campus, so just trying to figure out life. I recently just crossed as a Spring 26 initiate of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. It runs in the family, as well as excellence. And I believe that is a part of the theme that we have this year for the summit, Back to the Future with Excellence.
And let's start out as I turn it over to Jada to moderate the questions. If we could have each one of our career panelists share a little bit about yourself, briefly introduce yourself. We'll start with Miss Kiana, then Miss Courtney, and then Miss Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all for this wonderful invitation to hear these insights on career insights and college insights. A little bit about me. I went to the University of Maryland, College Park, where I started off studying civil engineering, switched to computer science, and ended up with 2 degrees, one in information science and the next in statistics. Say all that to say it's not where you start, it's how you finish. And then I went on to study systems engineering at Johns Hopkins. Now I work with Booz Allen Hamilton as an AI product manager and program manager. So I deal with machine learning modules and like robots and nice chatbots and agents and stuff all day long, along with some data engineers and some other types of engineers. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Courtney. Nice to meet everyone. I am originally from Augusta, Georgia. I went to undergrad at Augusta State University, got my MBA from LSU. I had a very non-traditional pathway into big tech, which I think is really interesting and exciting. So we'll talk more about that later. I am a senior cybersecurity industry leader at AWS, so Amazon Web Services. I've been in cybersecurity for over a decade, and in simplest terms, my job is ultimately to protect customers' data inside of one of the world's largest cloud platforms. I do that by controlling access and under what conditions. So I have a team of engineers that built this human access monitoring mechanism tool, which is pretty cool. And we basically make sure that folks have exactly what they need internally, and we do all of the monitoring. I build security policies, which is really interesting. I make sure AWS meets certain government industry security standards, and I solve really complex security issues by presenting risk decisions like to our senior executives that affect millions of customers, so we don't end up on CNN. I do a lot of work around AI, where I'm having to evaluate different risks that some of the models could cause, and then also the need to protect customer data via these models, and also AI security having to do the analysis around that as well. I don't know if a lot of people know, but cybersecurity is at an infrastructure level. So part of it's policy, part of it's risk management, part of it's technical, and it's actually one of the most in-demand career fields in this generation. So definitely excited to unpack that more with you all. Nice to meet you.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Miss Queen McKnight. I'm the founder of Queen's Energy Conservation. So, like I heard the other young ladies mention, I did not have the straight and narrow path either. I actually started in the construction industry. I started in the pharmacy tech industry and then moved into construction. Completely different beast there. However, I own a general contracting firm specializing in sustainable construction methods. My background is in the electrical industry. I have roughly 20 years of experience there. Got into some quality assurance and control and seen that there was a need for building systems to become more seamless. Within the construction industry, I realized that there was a great need to increase participation of more women as well as more younger folk to get in, right? Folk are aging out. So I started a workforce development side to QEC, where we also offer a lot of construction certifications as well as real world application hands on for the youth. So I'm very excited to be here with you all today, and let's jump into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jada. Before you get started, I just want to make sure, can everyone see our panelist pin?
So information science and statistics really I just enjoyed that the most. And that's what I went forward with.
Yep. Thank you for that. Next, Courtney.
Okay, so nope, not even close. As a woman, especially as a Black woman, like I did not see, especially in Augusta, Georgia, I did not see women in tech. I didn't see women in cybersecurity. I definitely didn't see people of color in these spaces. I was always told, also Caribbean, first gen here. So I was always told, be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, which are all amazing professions, but I knew that wasn't something that I was interested in. So I didn't grow up coding in my bedroom or thinking about firewalls. Like I literally came through the business side. I have a business degree for undergrad. I have an MBA. I do not have a computer science degree. People are always really interested in that, especially working in big tech because it's so competitive. They assume you have to have a computer science degree, and that's not true. What cybersecurity really found me, similar to what she said earlier, is I wanted a role that I knew I was going to make a lot of money and that there was going to be equity. So equity being stock in the business. And I don't know if you guys have been following like the Amazon stock a couple years ago was at $3,000 a share. It's not that now, but I knew that one of the benefits of working in big tech or working for a corporate company was that I could get equity just by being an employee. So to me, it was kind of like free money. So for me, that was definitely a driver, like finding a role that was going to pay me a lot, but then also where it was interesting. So for me, cybersecurity was something that I knew that I could do. I could do hard things. I had all these other degrees. So I was like, if I've already gone to school for all these other things, I can get some certifications and learn this work too. So I think the story that I really want every young person in this room to hear is you don't have to know the exact title of your future job right now. You just need to really keep walking towards what challenges you and stay curious enough to say yes when doors open that you did not plan for. Like you can do hard things and you need to remind yourself that often that you can do it. Thank you.
And that's absolutely correct. And lastly, we're going to move over to Queen.
So for myself, no. I'm first generation it all. Construction, workforce development, first generation, everything there. Now, what I did know was that I really, really enjoyed helping people, and um, I really like nature coming up. So, did I see myself getting into construction and the connection of nature and construction? Absolutely not. But as the other panelists mentioned, you have to essentially just walk in a forward direction and push forward. And as you do that, make sure that you're learning things and you're guided by what it is that you do enjoy. So if that is money, if that is you have to enjoy what you do. So find what it is that leads you there and then just push forward.
That's amazing advice. My next question is going to be, what excites you the most about where your industry is heading? And we can start with Courtney. We're going to mix it up a little bit.
Or definitely the pace. The way, like AI has always been here. I just think folks hadn't always realized it was kind of like in the backdrop of things, like right when your parents are filing your taxes and things like that with tax TurboTax, things like that, or Netflix being able to give you recommendations. Like AI has been here, but I think now the prevalence and the pace. So what excites me most is the pace. Cybersecurity is never solved. Like it is a living, breathing chess match, and with AI and all the different threats that are being produced so quickly from using the different AI threats and models and things like that, things are moving so fast. Like there's always going to be an opportunity, a seat at the table for the next generation of problem solvers. I'm excited that the field is finally also opening up to people who don't look like the typical hoodie in a dark room, was which I used to call it, stereotype, where it's like this old person or old man like typing away on their laptop. No, now we're seeing more women, we're seeing more people of color, even though those numbers are tiny, which is why I am so passionate about creating representation and showing that cybersecurity can be cool. I think it's not a sexy role, so people typically aren't as excited about cybersecurity. But I am excited that it is a huge opportunity for the non-traditional thinkers to come in and bring different perspectives that the industry has needed for a long time. And I think now there is a lot of push on communication and soft skills. How are you able to give information to engineers, and I have to work with lawyers and all these different folks. So being able to translate really complex things into very simple terms for non-technical folks is exciting. And I think for a long time, we were always told that you need to know how to code to be in cybersecurity. You need to know how to code to be in tech. But no, now we are leaning heavily more on soft skills as well. So I'm just really excited to see that it continue to transform. And there are more multifaceted opportunities in this space now, especially with AI driving a lot of the work too. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Kiana.
So for me, I think what excites me most about my work is probably the opportunities that we create to help people. Like with I feel like, the possibilities are endless, and working together with the community to come up with a solution that actually pushes the community forward is probably like one of the best rewards and probably one of the best things I love about my job. And really being able to use my creativity. Like I said, I'm a machine learning engineer, and we work with a bunch of other engineers to put together different aspects of all of our skills into one product. And so I would say that that is really another positive thing I have about my job. Number one is to help people, and number two is to work together with different mindsets and different skills and kind of learn from my peers as well. It's never like I'm the smartest one in the room. It's always, people that I'm there to like learn from, and they learn from me as well.
You're on mute, Jada.
I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Lastly, Queen.
Yeah, so there are a few things that excite me about both the industry as well as workforce development. So on the industry side is first and foremost the lasting impact. Okay, we've done work with schools, we've done work with hospitals, we've done work with owners, just people with homes. And to see the fact, to see that we are building these infrastructures and we're doing it in a way where we're keeping climate in mind, that where we're keeping just different things in mind that's going to now take and create an impact that can last and withstand not just one generation, depending on the job, depending on what's happening. So that's truly exciting there, the lasting impact, to see those children come in and say, oh wow, look at this, right? Or to just the feeling of they like it, I love it. Okay. Now, on the workforce development side, the same lasting impact, to walk in for our graduation series and folks to feel like they've unlocked the next level of their career, to help show them that construction, the industry is an ecosystem. It doesn't stop at your skilled trade. Okay, we need to have our engineers, we need to have our architects, we need to have our building inspectors, our site safety folk. So just to really bring people into a space where now, if they did have it niched out, they can see the bigger picture and know that there are so many places that they can step into, that they do not have to limit their self. They do not have to start a whole new career. They can stay right in that same um, ecosystem and move around and grow exponentially. So that's truly exciting. So on both sides, I would just go with impact.
And I love that response. We're going to move over to a different set of questions. Um, So a lot of you touched on this as well, but just some clarification. Did you follow the traditional college path or did you take a different route? And we can start with Queen this time.
I took a very different route, guys. I love the fact that this is a youth career and college summit. This is the place. You all need to hear this. So believe it or not, I had a scholarship. I could go to any college that accepted me across the span of the United States, a full ride. But my personal life and endeavors did not allow me the space to focus on school. So I went the certification route. As I mentioned earlier, I started as a pharmacy technician. And with that, I actually just walked into the pharmacy and I did what a lot of people won't do, which I heard Miss Chrissy say, make sure you all do on this line. Ask questions. Tell people what you're there for. Okay. So really, truly, I walked in there and I said, hey, can I get a job? And they told me to come back 8 a.m. the next day. They were going to give me a 300-word quiz. And if I passed, they will hire me on the spot. So what I did know was music. I went home and I made me a little song, right? I knew poetry and music. I was 17 years old. I went home, made me a song. I went back the next day and I got my job. But everyone around me were certificate holders and or college graduates, so they made more money than me. So I seen it from that other side of business. Like, wait a second, this isn't fair. So that turned and led me into joining a union where now wages are equal. Now in union, I went through an apprenticeship program. Now the difference with apprenticeship programs in college is you go to college, you pay money, or someone pays for you to be there, right? Through scholarships. But in an apprenticeship program, you're learning and you're earning while you're learning. That was more suitable for my situation at that time. But it didn't stop there. That didn't fulfill my need either. I knew it was a bigger picture there. But in short, no, I did not take the traditional route. But as long as you push forward, just don't stop. Ask questions, show up, you will be okay.
And I think it's important for kids to hear that perspective as well. Not everybody goes to college, and that's okay. So thank you for that, Queen. Next, we're gonna go over to Courtney.
So this is a good question, and I love talking about it because I think people are always surprised, especially in big tech or tech and cybersecurity. So I definitely did not take the traditional route. I had a very unique route. I went to college, but not the traditional tech route people assume you need. I mentioned earlier, I have my business degree in undergrad, and then I also have an MBA. So I don't have a computer science degree. I don't have an engineering degree. I pretty much built my career sideways through relationships. I literally was over 15 years ago, I was a T-Mobile manager. I was coaching sales and also teaching folks like how to do customer service, things like that. So I knew I had all these really cool transferable skills. Like I could build relationships. I was very analytical. I was a people manager. I could solve complex problems. So I took all of my transferable skills and I saw a role for UNICEF, which was like cybersecurity contracting for the Army Enterprise Service Desk for the Department of Defense. And instead of me getting intimidated when I looked at the role and saying, nope, I don't meet all these different qualifications, I didn't care. I applied. I made sure my resume tied to the role and all the transferable skills that I had. And when I went into my interview, I was honest with them. I was like, I don't have a technical degree. I'm not super technical at this point, but if you guys invest in me, like I literally had to be super bold and advocate for myself and told them like, I'm clearly a learner. I have all these degrees. No, it may not be for this particular role, but if you invest in me and pay for my certifications, then I will be able to learn this stuff through the certs and then also hands-on. And that's surprisingly, they said yes. So they ended up paying for my CompTIA Security Plus, which I recommend anyone that's going into cybersecurity or interested to get this specific certification because it gives you the cybersecurity foundational skills that you need. It is an industry certification. It is amazing. So I literally hit the ground running. I got that certification, got them to pay for it. I got them to pay for my security clearance. I got them to pay for my Windows Configuration 7 certification, my ITEL. So I just started cert stacking through my job. I did not pay a penny. And through that, I was able to learn so much foundational knowledge and hands-on experience because now I'm in the role learning it. So over the next couple of years, I became extremely technical, which I was so thankful for. And how am I using my degree today? Like folks will be like, well, do you feel like you wasted it? Absolutely not. Working in big tech and working in tech in general, for me, specifically for my role, I have to write a lot of executive briefs, right? Like I'm solving complex security problems at scale for infrastructure and billions of customers, data. So I have to be able to go in and document certain risk in a certain way and be able to explain to technical and non-technical audiences the impact of our decisions and be able to present that to our CISO, our Chief Information Security Officer, so that they're able to make decisions as well. So a lot of strategy. So I'm able to take my MBA in that way. It made me an extremely great writer. So I'm able to use it now in that sense. And then also when it came time for me to negotiate, I was able to leverage my MBA to get more money from them. When it came time for like my total comp equity, I was able to ask for more money by presenting my MBA. Do I need an MBA to do the work that I do? I don't think so. I would say no, but it was good to have because it prepared me in just different business ways. So that's it.
I do want to, Jada, pivot real quick to the chat. Excellent points made by all the panelists. I just dropped in the chat. Anytime, Ms. Courtney, as I heard, anytime you can leverage your employers and other partners to pay for certifications and credentials, the better. There's a question in the chat for you. It said, Ms. Courtney, how long did it take you to study and pass the Security Plus exam?
That's a good question. So I got them to pay for it. They put me through you don't have to go this route, I'll give you other options, but they put me through I want to say it was like a 18-day. It was something very intense. I remember locking myself in my room for a couple days. People didn't see me, but it was like an 18-day boot camp. And it was almost 8 to 10 hours a day, very, very long hours. If anyone knows anything about the Security Plus, most folks study for it within like 6 months. So doing it in 18 days was very accelerated. But there are so many, this was 10 years ago, there are so many different opportunities now where you literally could go on YouTube. You can even ask Claude, like you can have Claude create you a work back plan and say, hey, I want to pass my Security Plus within this amount of time. What are the tools, free tools and resources that I can use to study? There are so many free resources out there that were not available to me today. So I would definitely recommend like go do your homework. You can go online and you can Google like Reddit, what are people using to pass the CompTIA Security Plus on their first go round? Surprisingly, because I didn't have any cybersecurity knowledge when I originally went and got my CompTIA Security Plus, there was nothing competing in my brain against what industry was saying versus what was saying on paper. All that to say, I passed the CompTIA Security Plus on my first try, which is not the norm. I scored one of the highest scores out of CISOs that were in the room. We had engineers that failed because they were competing with what they were doing on the day-to-day versus what was on paper, what was being taught. So honestly, you are your greatest resource. Like lock in if you're interested in getting these certifications, tune all the noise out, find the free resources, use Claude or Chat GPT to build you a work back plan. That way it pulls all the information for you, the study plan that you can create via it, and just go for it. There's so many different paths these days to get these certifications. And a lot of them now are free. Like even if you go on Anthropic and Claude, they're actually offering a lot of free certifications for their own AI models as well. So I just encourage you to like be super proactive and go find these things. Don't wait on anyone to tell you.
Yes, thank you so much. And please take away the fact that she said use it for help and not for answers, okay? AI is there to help you. It's not there to do your work for you. We're gonna move on to Kiana.
Sure. So, could you repeat the question, please?
You're on mute, Jada.
You're on mute.
The question is, did you follow a traditional college path or did you take a different route?
Oh, I definitely followed the traditional path, but put my own spin to it. When I was in high school, I was able to go to school for half of the day, and then the second half of the day, I had an internship. But it was because I was so competitive. All of my friends were like 1 year older than me. I have a late birthday. So all of my friends were making money, and I was like not having it being broke. So I did what I had to do the credits in the morning and then the internship at night. And then I realized, oh, I don't like to do this. But then I realized the only way I'm going to know what I want to do in the world is if I get these internships and these different jobs and work them and try my best at them. And then, at the end of it, evaluate. So that's what I did throughout college. Throughout college, I first went to University of North Carolina, but realized that that was too far, and then transferred up to College Park. But every summer I had an internship. I had a class in the morning and an internship. And at the end of that, that really allowed me to dip my foot in a lot of different industries to see where I was going to land. But beyond that, it helped me really make networks with people and get to to know my skills. And then I also got to know what they did in the world. So when I graduated college, it was really easy for me to network. It was really easy for me to kind of go in and get a job, really, because of who I knew from my previous internships. So I would say I followed the traditional path to getting my job, but I put my own spin to it. And just to echo what the co-panelists have said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Okay, so that means it's okay if they're going to say no. That is okay. You keep going. A no doesn't mean anything. It just means not right now for that one opportunity, but it didn't stop me. People always ask me, Kiana, how did you stay with a job? It's because I never stopped applying. Okay, even to this day, I feel like it is really good to, keep your options open and continue to try different things, because you never know where you're going to end.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kiana. My next question is going to be, can someone enter your industry through internship, online learning, or through entrepreneurship? And I'm going to start with Kiana.
I would say you can. So the consulting world is so dynamic that you can probably enter this world through all three of the channels that you just mentioned. Number one, internships. I say internships is probably the easiest because you're in a learning, it's less pressure. You're learning. Nobody is expecting, there's not a lot of pressure. There's no client pressure on internships. But then when you think of how else can you get into the AI field, especially the consulting field, it's definitely through entrepreneurship. If you have a small business, if you build that business up, you could then sell it to a bigger consulting firm. You know what I mean? And then the last one is through networking. That is actually how I got this job, is through a conference. I was at a conference that I really was not even planning on going to, but it was in Baltimore, where I'm from, and I just happened to be in the area, and I looked good. Part of what Dr. Wilson said, I had my brand was right. Because if I was dressed like, a layman's person, I probably wouldn't have got the job. But because I looked good, I felt confident, and I went in and I had my resume on my phone, really, and I sent it to them, and I was able to, finagle an interview and really was able to talk my skills. So I think that you can enter the consulting industry at large through any channel, but especially AI. Definitely, the AI field, we're looking for SMEs, which are people who are experts in their field, to help be the human on the loop with AI model development. So you can create your own path.
I want to ask a follow-up question to that, just because I don't want to lose it. Because you can enter any of those that Jada mentioned with a consulting kind of a feel, what would you say the importance of a mentor or a coach be to kind of help you to break through a little bit more solid?
When I say 110%, I think that the mentors that I had growing up were 100% responsible for where I am. It took the work from me, but definitely find someone that you could see yourself in 10 years, and then go for that. And then to answer that question again, this is something that I did as well just a couple years ago, was look for the jobs that I wanted in 10 years and then work back from that. Kind of speaking on what the other co-panelists said, we didn't have AI. Well, we did, but I didn't use it. But I kind of went on LinkedIn and I saw, okay, I want to be a CTO in 10 years. And I looked and said, okay, a lot of them have systems engineers degree. And then a lot of them had systems engineering degree from Johns Hopkins. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Let me just try to do that. And I've reached out to folks. And because, I did a little bit of research, I was reaching out to folks on LinkedIn. They kind of helped me and guided me through that application process and put me in contact with one of the professors there, which I ended up doing some work with even after the program. So definitely your network is definitely your net worth.
And you do have a question for you in the chat. The question is, what was your progression from pursuing a degree in information systems to a role in data science / consulting like?
So the progression, so right after college, I spent an extra year in college. And then I got 2 degrees. And from that, went to a career fair and got my first job in consulting. And we didn't call it artificial intelligence. It was machine learning and data analytics. And so I used the fact that I knew a little bit about computer science from my first couple of years in college to my information systems and science background degree. And then a lot from those internships. And I was like, listen, whatever skill, whatever problem you give me, I'm going to be able to solve it, but you just got to give me the platform, kind of what the other co-panelists said. So it was kind of like, just knowing my skills, knowing my worth and asking for it and not being afraid of them saying no. Because when I went to the career fair for my first job, I spoke to a lot of people. The job that I got at the career fair was the last person that I talked to, and I was almost done. I was like, listen, I'm over this, but I just had a good attitude on the outside. On the inside, I was crying, but I had a good attitude, and I was like, still trying in my best. So the progression was really using a lot of my different experiences and putting it to whatever person I was interviewing with. So like pulling out the different strengths.
And there is another question, either you or Miss Courtney could answer, but do you know much about the cyber consulting world considered your current career positions?
Yes, I do know about cyber consulting and a lot about consulting. And if you'd like to, I'll reach out to you and see what kind of questions that I can answer. But in terms of current positions, it's really like how do you want your day-to-day be? Because in the world of consulting, and I'm sure this breaks down for different specialties, but we have people who are, individual contributors, meaning that they like their alone time and they contribute to the meeting when they have to. We have people who are people leaders who lead groups of teams of engineers to do stuff. We also have folks that lead different agents that do stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's really like, what kind of skills do you want to have? And then finding a role that matches your skill set and matches what you want to do. Because when I first started and graduated college, I was doing a lot of data science and it was a lot of engineering, which is what I didn't want to do for my degree. So why did I think I wanted to do that with my first role? I'm not sure, but I did, and I realized, this is not really what I wanted to do. But I moved around within that ecosystem and found out, I really like that I can use my technical knowledge and my functional knowledge to be kind of a liaison between my engineers and the senior leadership.
Thank you for that. Just to get a little bit back on course, I will be opening up the floor for questions towards the end, so you guys can ask your personal questions that everybody can hear. But just to get back onto the track, Miss Queen, can someone enter your industry through internships, online learning, or entrepreneurship?
So, as I previously mentioned, the construction industry is truly a huge ecosystem. So you can absolutely insert yourself into one space or another through those three routes. Now, for instance, I went through apprenticeship as an electrical apprentice, and I became a licensed electrician in different states. When I started my company, I didn't start an electrical company. I started a general contracting company, and I went and got a lot of construction management and green energy and climate resiliency certs and things of that nature. And like Miss Kiana actually mentioned, I merged things together based on the experience and expertise that I carried. Um, so you can take many routes, but I don't want to deviate from your question, but I really want the youth on the line to hear. Um, your network is your net worth. That's one thing that I can say. Each and every one of us has spoken on. You cannot win a shot if you don't shoot it. So that's very important. And then also treat yourself again as a brand, but treat your with a brand, you still keep the theme the same. You keep things the same. So don't want to be a cosmetologist and something that's completely different without finding that even medium where you can grow in both areas at once. It don't matter if it's social skills, whatever the skill sets are, make sure that you're hitting those skills that reach the variation of things you want to get into, but you have to push forward. Okay, so absolutely you can enter into now a licensed tradesperson. You cannot be a licensed professional without going through the proper training, right? But you can absolutely be a project coordinator for a construction firm with some online courses that can help wiggle your way in a door where now you use a networking strategy to help you get into a trade school. So it's all just, you just have to start.
Thank you so much, Miss Queen. And I would like to re-emphasize that a key point that everybody is saying, that your skills are transferable. It doesn't matter what you're doing, your skills can be applied to any field you choose. Lastly, we're going to move over to Miss Courtney.
Thank you, Jada. Yep, absolutely. So internships definitely can get your foot in the door. I know with AWS, you're able to Google to see like what internships are available. We bring interns in every summer, which is pretty cool. You can apply while you're in college for internships with AWS. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other companies are like that. And it's great because you're able to work with industry leaders, you're able to work with more senior folks to learn hands-on experience. And I know for AWS, at the end of their internship program, they present to us and we're able to give them feedback. And these are real skills that they take back into the real world as they're navigating their own careers, or while they're navigating things in school, they're able to take that information and have direct one-on-one access with us. Like we meet with our interns, we have conversations with them, we teach them lessons learned, things that worked for us, things that haven't worked for us, and we're basically mentors right there in the corporate setting, which is pretty awesome. So I definitely encourage, if you're someone that is interested in internships, apply early and also just take the time to search for the industries you're interested in, what opportunities are available sooner than later. So I would definitely do that. For online learnings, yes, absolutely. We talked about certifications. You're able to build proof through getting certs and getting hands-on experience. I think diplomas and degrees are really, really important, but your worth is not tied to a diploma or degree. Certs are also really, really helpful because ultimately you're trying to show a company that you have proof of skill, you have proof of judgment, you have proof that you could be trusted to do the work. And I believe that can come from a certification, portfolio that you build, apprenticeship, things like that. But that is also an option. I don't want anyone to ever feel small for choosing a different map to the same destination. You are able to, get to the same place doing different things, whether you decide to do the certification route. And then through the entrepreneurship, I think that's something that is from a personal branding. I feel like that's something that's underspoken on often because I don't think folks realize that entrepreneurship also could be you building a platform online. So I've built a platform online under the Cybersecurity Babe, where I do help people break into tech. I also teach women, especially ambitious women, how to navigate corporate America, and also giving them the resources to learn how to upskill, like whatever in the space that they're interested in. I think that if you're someone that does not mind creating a platform online and really, really honing in on your personal branding, that's important. You can do that through creating things like a GitHub. If anyone's not familiar with GitHub, I recommend definitely learning about it. You literally can track your work and make a portfolio. You can showcase your work. You can create a LinkedIn profile, or even if you're on Instagram or things like that, you can post a link to your GitHub. So folks are learning about the actual work that you're doing in real time. Like you can post that like a journal, like your tech journal. I also encourage folks to build their personal brand on LinkedIn, which I think is underutilized. Start positioning yourself as an industry leader. You literally can go on LinkedIn. You can find an article that maybe you've Googled or you've talked to Claude about. You can take that article, put it on LinkedIn, and you can have conversations with folks about it. Like the whole point is trying to position yourself as an industry leader so folks see that you're interested in a particular subject and you're intelligent enough that you're having the conversations, you're having people comment back on the post, and you're engaging them as well. It's not about you knowing everything. No one expects you to know everything, and you have to start somewhere. So I think that's a really, really good way to get folks to see that you have an interest in a topic, and that you can learn to be curious. And I think too, like start a Substack. Tell people to go read your Substack. Your Substack can be things that you're working on. If you're tracking maybe your tech journey, or if there's things that you're learning, specific skill sets, if there's stories you want to tell about your journey and the things that you're learning, put it in a Substack. You could put that on your LinkedIn. And again, you can get hiring managers, recruiters, anybody, really honestly, to see your Substack, see your GitHub, and that helps you literally position yourself as an industry leader. And I think those are things that are underutilized, but is really, really helpful, because you can also, in addition to like the work that you're doing, you can create a whole, for me, like I do tech influencing outside of Amazon. So I literally have tech brands that reach out to me. My last post with Zen Business, I made $2,500 from posting one Instagram reel. So I don't think that folks realize, like, you can have your 9 to 5 and you can do your 5 to 9, and you can literally leverage your social media brand to also position yourself and then also make additional income. It's pretty cool.
We're close to wrapping up, so I'm going to end with this final question. If you could give every young adult on this on this Zoom call today one piece of advice about your career, what would it be? And we can start with Kiana.
If I could give one piece of advice, what would it be? I think I've already said it, and it's you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And it's really like knowing that you are your best advocate. I think River's example of that today on this call was the best. Like literally, what is your goal? I want to be a dancer, and someone knows a Mariah Carey dancer, not just like a dancer at the pub. We're talking about Mariah Carey. So definitely you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, and take that to heart and stand up for yourself.
Absolutely. And next, Miss Courtney.
Thank you, Jaya. I think for mine, I'm going to answer River's question. River asked something that I get asked 24/7, which is, these careers require a lot of energy and time. How do you find balance between your work life and personal life without burning yourself out? Okay, so one, do things that feel like sunshine, that still fill your cup. So for me, I know that I work in a very high demand, high pressure environment. So I have to be very specific with either time blocking, meaning that the time that I say I'm going to give myself to rest, or making sure that my calendar is up to date. Like I have to pre-plan things. That way, when there are other work pressing things coming my way, I have to tell myself I can do anything, but I can't do everything. Like I have to be very intentional with boundaries and being okay with pushing back and understanding that I have to rest. Like if I'm not going to rest, I'm going to be burnt out. So for me, I have to be very intentional with moving my body. So I love Pilates. I go to solid core typically 3 times a week. That refills me. I know that if I'm not drinking enough water, like I'm going to be all over the place. So I have to make sure that I'm stepping away from my desk to take my breaks. I know that I need natural sun and dopamine. So I have to make sure, even if I'm in the office, because I have to be in the office 5 days a week, I'm getting outside, I'm moving my body, things like that. I think that you have to be very intentional with owning your time and your schedule, and you cannot allow people to feel like they can control your schedule and your time. You need to decide, like, the life that you want and say no to everything that's not that. So that means maybe you're not going to be hanging out 24/7 with all these different folks. Maybe there are certain days that you're hanging out, certain days that you're resting. But I think that you have to just be very intentional with making sure boundaries are in place. And then two, using different systems. I feel like without a system, it's hard to get organized. So Notion is a really good organizational tool, productivity tool. Use that so that you're able to map out your week. If there's things that you can move around or your priority A, B, and C, use that to figure out where you need to put your time and where you're going to have to shift other things. So I think getting really clear on the tools that you can manage day to day, saying no when you need to say no, having time blocks and trying to stick to that, and then not forgetting to do the basics: water, move your body, find a hobby, and just really take care of yourself. Yeah. If not, you will burn out.
Yes, thank you for that, Ms. Courtney. Lastly, Ms. Queen.
So pour back into you. That's like the easiest thing. Being an entrepreneur, right? It's like you get to set your schedule, you have to maintain everyone else's schedule. It's a lot of moving parts, right? So make sure you pour back into you. Even if you're now incorporating it into a part of your day to day. Like, for instance, I love the vibration plate. So when I get up in the morning and I'm making my coffee, I have one in the kitchen. So while I'm making the coffee, I can stand on the plate and it gets me started, right? So just find a way now to incorporate the things that pour into you, and it won't be heavy. It's easier that way.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to take the time to thank our incredible panelists, Miss Kiana Holden, Courtney Hayes, and Miss Queen McKnight for sharing your experiences, your expertise, and your advice with us today. And to all the students and parents watching, I hope you're leaving this conversation with new ideas, useful resources, and a little more confidence about your own career journeys. Thank you for joining us in this panel. We hope you pursue your future with excellence. And with that, I'm going to open the floor to some of the questions in the chat. One of them was, can you speak about social media and things that young folks need to be careful with?
I can touch on that as well. Okay. With social media, you obviously want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to protect your identity. So what can that look like? Because if you're not protecting your identity, you make yourself susceptible to things like identity theft. You also don't want folks knowing where you are at all times because right people can find you and show up. I've had that happen before, oddly, just from me posting. It wasn't even like the location, but they could see the background of where I was. It was like near the Empire State Building or things like that. But all that to say, you just need to be very intentional on what you're posting, whether it's where you are, your location, not posting in real time, not posting PII, like personal identified information that someone could use and literally take this information and piece together like who you are. Is my computer freezing again? Sorry, you guys. I don't know if I lost you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. My camera might be frozen because my computer is doing some weird, funky stuff right now. I'm on my work laptop. But just really, really being intentional on not posting personal information that a bad actor, a threat actor could use to identify you in any way. For example, I know we post things like our birthday. Just be mindful of that, like posting your full birthday with the year. Or you'd want to make sure you're not posting bank account information or your social. You want to make sure sometimes like you're not posting your full name where folks can piece different things together and use that to do identity theft. You also want to make sure the things that you're posting, like for me, I work for AWS. I have to be really mindful of how I'm showing up online. I can't post proprietary things that AWS has in their system. So you want to learn like the job that you're working for. What are their social media policies and guidelines? There's certain things that they don't want you to say, especially about a competitor. Like I can't get on my social media and start talking about Google Cloud. I can't do things like that. So if you're working for a specific company, you want to make sure you understand those particular rules. I cannot stress enough on please do not post your location real time. You're going to hear me say that 3 and 4 times because I know there has been situations where folks have been able to track down people like stalkers and things like that, just someone posting their location in real time and having just these very weird interactions. So I would say that. And then also just, if you are someone that does post often, just being very, very, very mindful of the content that you're putting out, because everything you're posting ties to your personal brand. And you do want to make sure that you understand the things that you say could be used against you later. You do see now, even with politics, where folks are going back and finding their Twitter accounts and they were online saying crazy stuff and then they're losing their jobs. So you just want to be mindful that your social media is really a reflection of you, and you should follow digital safety rules. You can Google what that is. You can also talk to Claude about different ways to protect yourself online. But those are going to be the high level things that you should incorporate on your day to day. So hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you so much. We only have one more time for one more question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted to actually tap into what Miss Hayes spoke on. Please, guys, a
That's
lot of these.
fine. I'm just gonna let Miss Queen finish. Any of the other questions that you have, please continue to put them in the chat. Hopefully, our panelist is reading through so they can answer personally too. But I am going to pass it over to Miss Queen. Thank you guys again for your time.
Thank you. Yeah. So, actually, like Miss Courtney mentioned here, a lot of these apps, they have updates. And for instance, Instagram had an update, I want to say maybe even a year ago, where now if you shared your location on your phone, because we have apples and we want to know where our friends and family are, with the update it started sharing location in the app. So please, I don't know if one of you ladies speak to it. But how would you get in front of that? Because luckily it identified like, hey, this is the update, and I read through the updates, but a lot of people don't. They're like, updated so I can keep going. So is there something that y'all can provide feedback on for that? Because I know that that was extremely scary for a lot of the young and older folk that I met.
I mean, I think that ties down to like Instagram needs to be more like these tools and apps, they need to be more proactive on the updates they're making. So the only thing that I would tell like students is, if you know you're someone that's a heavy Instagram, TikTok user, you're going to have to be proactive with staying up to date, like you going out there and reading what their most recent updates are. Because a lot of the time, like access to this knowledge is not readily available. Business do it. Why do they do it? To make money. I don't know why security features and updates aren't readily shared. They're not. So that just goes back to like you really owning your journey, you really owning the time to research information that's going to protect you and help you, and not waiting on the companies to share. 'Cause a lot of times companies aren't going to share things with you. They don't care. I hate to say it like that. They're there to make money, right? It's consumerism. They're there to make money. So if you are on these platforms, if you're using a tool, anything, be very proactive with going and looking up some of the safety features. I had to do that because I didn't even know until another influencer posted about it, and it's happened to run across it. And then I went and started to do my research. You can also sign up for like for me, I'm subscribed to Security Weekly, so I get different newsletters. So you can also see if there are different newsletters for social media that you can sign up for. So I just recommend Googling, like literally go on Google or ask Claude and just say, hey, are there any newsletters out there that will send me a 5-minute read on some security briefing updates? And literally every morning I get a security briefing update that I can just read on my way to work. I can read in the bed, things like that. So sign up for newsletters, but also be very proactive and really own going out there and looking up this type of information, because you know you're using it.
And can I add into there too? That's fantastic and such good advice. And I just want to kind of plus one to that, but also add on to it that sometimes when you put those updates on, they are critical, especially the security ones. But go into your privacy settings, because sometimes what those companies do is they slip into these settings, like enabling things that allows you. So, for instance, if you're using ChatGPT and just different ones, the free versions, they may use your data, whatever you're putting in there. They're using it to train the AI models. And so you may or may not want that. And so if you go into your privacy settings, there are ways that you can kind of control how your data is used as well. Some things you can't, but some things you can, but just go and educate yourself on that as well. Okay.
Thank you all so very, very much. Can we give a phenomenal round of applause to our panelists? Let me tell you, we could have did a whole summit just with y'all. I mean, this has been outstanding. There are so many phenomenal questions in the chat. So if y'all want to go through and maybe reply to anything that might have stuck out for you, feel free to do so. I do see some hands. So what, as I take a hand, if you have your hand up, this is what I will do. For those who want to step away from their computer for a minute, and we're going to start back up at 12:30 with the next session. But for those who have questions, I'm not going to hold our panelists, but I'm going to unpin everyone. And if you have a general question from anything you've heard from my session, or if the panelists are still here, if you all want to ask any general questions while we resume, feel free to do so. But I just want to say on behalf of the all of our teams, college students, and everyone who joined us, thank you to our panelists so very much, and to our moderator for doing such an exceptional job moderating the panel and moving the discussion forward. That's a perfect example of youth and leadership, y'all, young adults in leadership, and really fine tuning your skills, because the way you get better at showing up publicly is to show up publicly, ask the tough questions, and be willing to refine your skills. So great insights. Now, look, I will tell my panelists, we all family now, so expect to be invited back for other opportunities. Thank y'all so much. Our youth could definitely benefit from maintaining these connections. So thank y'all so much. Feel free to stick around. And if you can't, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, but we appreciate the time we did have with you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, River?
As someone who wants to attend a four-year college, I'm just wondering how to find like internships and jobs that will be worthwhile while I am still in school.
Excellent question. There's a lot of different ways. I hope I'm not peeing. Hopefully I'm not peeing. I see my face on here pretty. Let me switch my view. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it, River. A lot of federal agencies have internship. One of the more general ways is to use an AI tool to kind of help you to look for it. So if you're looking for, let's just say, a banking internship or in a particular career field, leverage a tool like a Chat GPT or Gemini or a Claude and ask, what are some of the common internships for college students or whatever your specifics are? Then that is an easy and simple way to get pointed to some resources that you can then further explore to see what might be a fit for you. I will tell you this about internships. There are certain internships have certain windows of time that they're open. There's one with the Department of Transformation. My sister Cassandra, I hope she's still on, but she works for the Department of Transportation. I used to, but she still does. And every year they have a summer internship where they pay you a stipend to work during the summer. They put you up in housing in DC. And I think their application usually opens in the fall and closes in January, for example. And that's just one example. As you heard Miss Courtney talk about, Amazon has internships. Many corporations have an internship program. So the key message, y'all, when it comes to things like internships, jobs, and scholarships, roll up your sleeves and do a broad search. The more narrowly focused you can target your search, internships for the summer, internships for computer science majors, the more specific things you put in, the more specific results you're going to get on the back end. And I see Miss Queen's hand. I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay. Hi, Miss Anaya. So I wanted to address your comment, your question here. The hardest part about starting my firm was starting. That was it. Okay. A lot of folk, they even went into entrepreneurship the traditional route. utilizing a third party service to help them do their paperwork and all of that stuff. Believe it or not, us paying taxes, the people in government work for you. So I walked in and I asked questions. I asked the hard questions. I asked the questions that seemed like they didn't make sense. Even when I met Miss Chrissy, I asked a lot of questions. So that was the hardest part, just starting. If you don't know where to start, now you got, well, all of us, but with AI, there's a lot of resources in AI. See, with me, I had to go to the library and get a book, but you could just go on your phone and type it in and it'll give you some form of guidance. But know that you can walk into these local government offices and ask questions. You can call them and ask questions. Your tax dollars pay them to operate. So please just keep that in mind if you do want to step into entrepreneurship. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it is a journey. You get tired of being up until 3, 4 in the morning and getting up by 6 some days. But did you have any other part to your question?
No, that was the only part to my question. Thank you so much.
All righty. All right.
Thank you, Miss Queen. Miss Ivy, I do see your hand up. And before you share, yes, this entire summit is being recorded and the slides will be available. Today's slides will be available on the website later on today. And both days will be recorded. Yes, Miss Ivy. Hello, Miss Ivy. How are you, dear?
Hello, I'm great.
I was like, wait a minute, I know Ivy.
Yes. So, as someone who is a rising senior in high school and I'm constantly building my scholar profile, what was any like extracurriculars that you or some of the panelists had that really made an impact to their like applying the college's process?
So that's a really good question. And the impact is less the activity, but more how you tell the story of how you showed up with it. I'll give you an example. You have to up your activities. You have to communicate your activities to help you with what you're doing. So for example, I know there's a number of Boys and Girls Club kids on the session. Well, if you know you were a Boys and Girls Club kid and it's not on your scholar profile, shame on you. If you know you were part of the Center of Transformation and you're not highlighting that, shame on you. If you know that you played basketball, if you ran track, if you were in student government, highlight certain capabilities like leadership skills, musical talent, like if you were in band or you like to paint. So those kind of things, if you were in the ROTC. So if you're in activities, use them to communicate your capabilities on your scholar profile. Everybody have different activities that they're participating in. So you don't necessarily have to go after a particular type, but there are certain things that you want to be able to highlight and call out, like your leadership skills. If there's anything notable, like if there was an award that you won or an honor that you received associated with those activities, certainly speak to those. And if you know that, let's say if you're going to school for nursing, you want to make sure that you highlight things like maybe you volunteered with the Red Cross, or maybe you were a candy striper. I don't know if they still have those at hospitals anymore, but you volunteered at a hospital. So make sure that the dots start to connect between your activities and what you want to showcase on your scholar profile. A lot of some of the things that I see missing from scholar profiles, dates. So if you're going to say Dr. Christie played basketball, it should say in parentheses from 2022 to 2026. Or if you were in student government, if you were the president, you need to say what the role was. So you could say student government 2022, 2026, and then in parentheses or with a comma, you could add president, secretary, treasurer. Nobody knows what you do, what you've done, how well you've done it, unless you share it.